Hello, New Orleans. I thought it would be interesting to have a little minor talk this week on something that I find very interesting, which is kind of the hypocritical enforcement or selective enforcement of laws in the state of Louisiana. Now, what you may have seen, and I think it was covered in a story, I'll try and link below, is that there was this law passed by Jay Morris last year that says it is a crime for any municipality, any elected official, any appointed official, any law enforcement to not cooperate with ICE. Now, it's kind of bizarre because, as you know, ICE primarily enforces civil law when it comes to immigration enforcement, but it was an effort to kind of weaponize and force law enforcement to help ICE. Now, beyond the fact that that's very problematic, beyond the fact that ACLU sued to try and bring some tighter constraints to that law because it thought it might impact free speech, here's what I find interesting. One of the biggest complaints of the many that we have about ICE and how ICE operates is face masks. The fact that so many ICE agents wear face masks. And what I find very interesting is there's actually a law in the state of Louisiana, it's RS 14313, regarding face masks and the fact that face masks being used to obscure one's identity in public places is actually a crime punishable by up to 3 years in jail. Statute link below. Particularly, let me kind of go over generally. It is illegal to wear a mask or facial disguise in any public place or open area in view of the public that hides one's identity. Now, of course, you're asking, we're a Mardi Gras place. How is that allowed? Well, there are exceptions. There's an exception for festivities like Mardi Gras, Halloween, Christmas. Can't arrest somebody in a Santa suit, but I would argue that ICE terrorizing our community is not a festivity, so doesn't meet that criteria. The next one is for safety or medical issues. Now, by safety, they're really meaning that people who wear motorcycle helmets that have an enclosed facial shield, they are allowed to wear a mask to protect their face. Also, this exception extends to COVID or to the mask you wear typically, the surgical mask when you're sick, protecting your friends and your family. The last exception is religious beliefs. So obviously, if you're someone from a religious background that requires a headscarf or some other facial covering, those are permitted. Now, those are the only exceptions. Now, here's why I find that interesting. You have an instance in which the state of Louisiana is literally threatening every city in the state, every single person, every employer, every whoever. If you don't follow state law, we're coming to get you. But when you've got a federal agency completely ignoring state law, you hear nary a peep. And what should be very troubling is that it's one thing when the law is not applied equally, but in this case, you're going one step farther. It's being selectively enforced. Now, mind you, there's also a counter exception in the law, which I find very interesting. If you're someone who's a registered sex offender, you cannot ever wear a mask. Well, considering ICE isn't doing background checks, who knows what's going on with those guys? Why am I pointing all this out? I'm pointing this all out because we are in a bizarro, darkest timeline where government is passing laws to protect people doing bad things, and government is ignoring laws that exist to protect the public good and to make us all safe. And just the simple fact that the state of Louisiana is comfortable promoting this hypocrisy should kind of let you know that we are not a great place. I guess for me, for those of you who are X-Men fans, when I kind of look at what's playing out, it's like Age of Apocalypse or Days of Future Past, where you see all these bad things happening cumulatively that lead towards a bad future. But also in all those storylines, there's always that one person doing that one thing which can change the fate of everything. And when I look at what people are doing locally with Free the Swamp, when I look at the efforts of people in Minnesota doing what they're doing to push back and to protect their neighbors, I just want to remind you that though it seems like we're in the darkest timeline, the fact that as a community we continue to work together, the fact that we continue to call out kind of ridiculous things as we see them, those are all those small things that we can do individually, that although things seem dire, the fact that we continue to call out these ridiculous instances, the fact that groups like the ACLU continue to point out the hypocrisy of some of these positions, these are all the efforts it takes to prevent the darkest future, the age of apocalypse, the days of future past from coming to be. So I just want to encourage everyone, whatever you've been doing, whatever you will do, keep doing it and try and do more, because we all collectively are what makes this city great. We're all collectively the people who are helping our neighbors. And I heard this weekend and it spoke to me. There's nothing more powerful right now than a whistle and looking out for your neighbors, because your whistle, your looking out, is more likely to help someone than anything else right now. So with that, have a great weekend, New Orleans. Stay warm, stay safe, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Solid work, team. See you on the ground. To me, my X-Men.